when I was 18, or I guess not 18, 17 when I graduated high school, I was not the kind of guy to go out there and learn computer science and do all these like things on my own. So I knew just internally, I was like, I have to go to college. I have to go to university somewhere because I'm just not that motivated. I ended up finding that motivation in probably my junior year of college, and that's carried me through. But it was a mindset that I had placed on myself, like almost internally. I was like, I know I'm not that go-getter right now, and so I need to be put in a scenario where I'm surrounded by this knowledge that I'm just going to start, you know, being a sponge and soaking it up. And then eventually it got to the point where I started getting too interested, and I was like, okay, now I'm spending all of my time on this stuff, and I found that motivation. But it was something early on. I was like, I saw all these people getting jobs without a degree, so I knew it was possible. I just didn't have the discipline at the time when I was graduating high school to do it. You know what I mean? Like a college degree would force you to do it.
All right, y'all, welcome back to Founders Drive.
We got a new face in the car.
We got a new face in the car. This is our first guest drive with, drum roll.
Oh, Emmett Barrett.
Emmett Barrett, yes. So today it's a fun one. We're going to be going a little bit into Emmett Barrett Solutions, what you guys have going on over there. We're going to be diving into Sara Blakely, a founder that we've done our research on. She was actually on our list coming up, but you called her out as somebody that you found resonated with you.
Short circuit the list. Yeah, I love it.
So we're like, let's bring it up and let's get to it. But for people that aren't aware of Founders Drive is a podcast where Jake and I typically, but now with Emmett right now, we study founders, we study success, and we take what we've learned from that and we apply it to our business in real time. And so we're always talking about strategy, we're talking about the psychology of these people, and basically stealing all of the game that we can and applying it to what we do on a day in and day out basis. So we're hoping to learn from something as we talk about these. We don't know everything, but we definitely like to learn in public, and we're hoping that we can share the things that we've learned about to the people that are watching. So with that being said, let's get into Mr. Barrett. Let's introduce the third guest right now. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, of course. My name's Emmett. I'm the CEO of Barrett Solutions. CEO is a new title that I recently took. I did not like it very much, but my chief of staff has been pushing me to start calling myself that, so I guess it makes sense now. But I've been running Barrett Solutions for a little under 2 years now. We're a software consulting firm that work with companies to kind of do two main things. We do kind of just traditional full stack development, a lot of the times with very complex AI use case, as well as business optimization. So we go into a company and kind of from a traditional CIO/COO lens, we kind of audit what's going on, what workflows are happening, kind of where's the pain. After we address all that, then we decide where we can put in automation and software to really supercharge the business. So yeah.
Wow. How many clients do you guys have?
Active right now, I think we have 5. That's usually the amount that we stick with. We've just been scaling up to larger clients now, so.
That's awesome.
Okay, so walk me through the beginnings of it. I saw that you started in a desk at Bamboo and then kind of evolved into
journey
of the broom closet and then...
Yeah, of course. So I went to State, of course, and I moved out to Ann Arbor for a software job originally. I was working for a CRM company. But I very much knew that that job was not really for me because I really crave freedom and autonomy, and like I love the idea that the amount of input that you put into something is the amount of output that you can get back out. So kind of at that job, it was, yes, I could kill myself here and work really hard, but at the end of the day, I don't own very much of what's actually happening here, so the outcome really doesn't depend on me. Also, I don't get much of a return from it. I could kill myself and make like 15,000 more, and it's just not really, just didn't really align with what I wanted. So I'd started working like nights and weekends on what would become my business at Bamboo. It's a co-working space where I was working out of. And about 5 months into my tenure at Nutshell, I ended up being let go. Well, fired actually, but let go sounds better. But,
there you go.
So I went straight from...
Well, what was the story there?
Oh yeah, so it was a couple things. It was, I just wasn't producing the output that they were looking for. They said that I was unprofessional, which I thought was interesting.
I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah.
This is while you were in Ann Arbor, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, were you wearing that State
So yeah.
I was. But I don't know. I think for me, it's like I want to approach everything that I do with fun, and I think I tried to do that. I think actually at my 3 months they were saying that I'd improved culture a ton and that made it so fun to be at work.
Oh,
but I guess I likely pushed it further than they wanted. And I mean, it makes sense, right? The CEO has a specific culture that he wants, and I was pushing it past that. So at the end of the day, I understand it now, certainly. So
wow.
yeah.
Okay, so you got let go.
Yeah.
And then continuing with the journey.
Yeah, so I actually I went straight from that office to the space I was renting at Bamboo. Obviously, I was pretty unhappy about it, but I'm a very kind of matter-of-fact person, so I was like, well, this absolutely sucks, but I just need to deal with it. So I sat down, I kind of just like journaled about it for a little while, and then I called pretty much everyone that I'm close to, told them just so I could kind of get that dealt with. And then it was kind of just me sitting down and deciding, can this actually work? Could I go full-time with this business? And by the end of the night, I called up my parents again. I'm like, yes, I got fired, but I'm gonna be going full-time on this now, because I mean, I already love doing it, so yeah.
Wow. So I'm imagining that the earlier days weren't as weren't the same as they are right now in terms of like working with clients, or were they?
Well, kind of. So I got my first ever client just via cold outreach on LinkedIn, actually.
Wow.
And I was very lucky to find an article early on, which kind of guided a lot of how I do my business, where it's, before you build anything, find 10 people that'll buy it. So I had an idea of what I wanted to build. It was kind of like a system for automatically pulling events from websites and just putting them onto calendars. Back then, it was less solved. Now it's like there's a million extensions that'll do that for you. So I reached out to businesses just trying to see if there was interest in it. And one of the people that I reached out to, she was like, yes, I'm looking for something adjacent to it for summer camps and kids activities. So I ended up kind of pivoting, because of course I hadn't built anything yet. So she was saying, oh yeah, could you demo this for me next week? So of course I spent the week building out that system, showed it to her, she loved it, and that became my first client. Which actually, I'm the CTO of that company now.
Really?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How does that work together?
It's an interesting relationship. It took a while to get the contracts ironed out, because I myself have personal equity in the firm. My company has equity in the firm because it sold that software, that data aggregation system.
Right.
That has powered all the. So it's a platform. It's like a dual-sided marketplace for camps and kids activities.
Gotcha.
Basically, right now, there's no unified source for all that. As a parent, they'd have to go to like 8 different websites, even more if they've got multiple kids, and manage all these different schedules and payments and forms and documents, and just it's a massive burden for them. The story the CEO always tells is she spent about 40 hours scheduling the summer for her 3 kids, which is just a crazy amount of time.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So the idea with this system, or this platform, is that organizers can go on and set up everything, because 80% of them are on Excel or pen and paper and just using Venmo to take payments, so there's no standardization on it. So we take all that off them, as well as we deal with the marketing, because it's a dual-sided marketplace and there's parents on it. So far we've had some great traction with it. We deployed out in Kansas City, Overland Park area. Already taken in, I think, 19,000 in revenue
Nice.
from that, and that's just with one summer camp. So it's a completely untapped market, and it's going to go ballistic once we do our larger launch. So
All from a cold outreach on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So
That's powerful. Most people don't realize that.
Yeah.
That like you can just cold outreach to people on all these social platforms.
well, I think that, so you just reached out and said, hey, I have this idea in mind. What do you think? Are you interested?
Actually, I told her I built it. which I told her I had not, actually, about 6 months ago. She thought it was funny.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting, because there's also a lot of LinkedIn outreach that you get where you're like,
That's true.
hey. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's like automated.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm curious, and then I'm also curious about how it's Barrett Solutions, right?
Yeah.
So there, it seems like you're doing more, service work and less product work.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate a lot of the things that you're doing with clients now can evolve into products where you have these types of relationships? Is that kind of the ethos, or is that somewhat of a one-off that you had with this this first client?
Yeah, so actually that system that we built for them is basically like a full-scale data aggregation system, because they originally had to deal with the cold start problem of that they're not going to have organizers on their platform. So what they wanted to be initially was a listing of all the different summer camps in an area, so that they could solve the idea of a parent can go in and like save all these different events to their calendar, so they can preview exactly what it would look like in their life. It just takes a ton of the scheduling burden off them. So we were kind of just the management for that. Then from there, it would be onboarding organizers onto it. So I took that system that basically automatically would go out onto the web, find these summer camps and organizations and kids enrichment activities, validate them, then pull out all of that information just at scale across any metro area that you're looking for.
I see. But then even with future clients, if you're working with somebody and you say, hey, this is a really great product that we can scale beyond this specific use case, that's something that you're like, hey, we might transform this into, you know, a product that we can open up to other people to use. Is that like still a play?
So it really just depends on the exact client, because a good bit of our things are just work for hire. They own all of it, but other ones, if I see a lot of value in it for myself, then I will want to do some sort of license or some sort of equity agreement. For instance, as we've gotten into this business optimization space, a lot of companies are going to have similar problems. So that's kind of a flywheel thing that I've been trying to invest in, where if we solve a problem for one person, we retain that technology, the next client that comes in, we can plug that directly in, and then that becomes recurring revenue for us as well, because we're doing the services for that. But also our dev time to implement that is so much quicker, and it's proven with this other client. And of course, we can customize on topic and get paid for the pro services work. So.
Oh man, that's
sell the whole cow.
Yeah, sell the whole
sell
cow.
the whole thing.
That's
awesome.
a theme that keeps coming up on this show. Okay, so then I have one more question.
Yeah.
On this is so where do you see your company growing to in the next, let's say, I'm just gonna throw a random number out here, you know, don't stick too close to it, but like 5-10 years, like how do you see the company evolving and growing?
So 5 years from now, so I don't know in terms of headcount or revenue or anything like that too much. I know that my biggest goal is to be able to just work on really, really fun problems for just massive companies and really drive change. That's been my absolute favorite thing about this, is that I've been able to work with companies that people actually know and actually affect people. And something that's always bothered me is people who will go in and do this work. Like, for instance, a lot of government work, people will go in and they'll put bids out on these contracts and then do absolutely nothing and just waste just massive amounts of money. I absolutely hate that. And I love the idea that I'm able to work with these companies and solve those things. And of course, I want to be massively profitable, and we are going to be as we do these larger and larger things. But honestly, it's just, I want to keep solving these awesome problems. So whoever we end up getting there. So
that's awesome.
Cool. All right.
I'm curious, what's the team size today?
We are at 8 employees.
Nice. Wow. That's not like a small thing.
No.
8 full-time people. That's families. That's salaries. That's benefits.
No.
That's awesome. That's huge. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So, you guys ready to shift into
A little Sara
Blakely?
Yeah.
Miss Blakely. I think a great jump-off point would be you talking a little bit about what resonated with Sara's story, and what you liked about, you know, just doing a little, you know, research on her and seeing what resonated with her with you about her.
Yeah, I think it was a few things. I think one of the largest was how much time she spent kind of just like knocking doors. I think she worked for about 7 years selling door-to-door with people, which is, I would struggle to do that work myself. It just sounds incredibly challenging to constantly be facing no's. It's been something I've been really working on, is actually getting out into the world and like just taking those no's, which I just had a lot of respect for. But then also the fact that she grew Spanx for I don't know how many years, but a massive amount of years without taking any amount of outside investment. That's something that I've been privileged to be able to do as well. We've been fully bootstrapped from our revenue from day one. So I think that's something that I really, really admired, because I think it is a common misconception that you need to take funding. Because I think a lot of the times if you have revenue, I mean, that's kind of the best indicator of your company being able to be successful. And then even then, you can get funding at a much nicer multiple. Of course, that doesn't that's not true for every business. A lot of times you have to have a lot of capital in order to be successful. But yeah.
So you don't see yourself ever taking capital or anything like that down the road, like investment capital? Because I think she went all the way like 21 years without taking outside capital.
Well, I don't know to be certain. I would say the only time that I'd be interested in taking capital is if there's like a strategic part with it as well. If some sort of private equity firm was interested in taking a share in Bird Solutions, but it allowed us to have access to their portfolio of companies, then that's what I would really have interest in. Because it's really just, if I get an influx of cash, it's not necessarily going to help me grow any quicker. It's really just going to be what is the strategic partnership that comes alongside it. And if there's cash with that too, then lovely. But it's not as much of my interest.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's one of those things that you can look back on and be like, man, I'm glad that we didn't fall into that trap of getting investment without direction. Because I think, I mean, of course, if you have money that comes in and you have a space to use it, then by all means, it's going to take it to that next level. But there's also a lot of stories that you don't really hear about where people get cash, they don't know what to do with it, and then they end up, exactly, and then you're like, oh man, like, so that's really interesting. So what we normally do is we normally go through the founder's timeline, their story, and then we just fill in details along the way, add commentary, things that resonate with us, and from there we, go more into like takeaways that we've gotten from her story where we can apply it to what we've actually done. We have a super secret founders drive, and that's where we like give away, the real insights, hard-earned lessons. But we always start with the timeline to just kind of paint the picture. And one thing that really stuck out with me, and I don't know how much these guys stuck out with you guys, but was her childhood. So her childhood was Clearwater, right?
Yep.
And
with a father who's a lawyer.
With a father who's a lawyer, a trial lawyer. And the first thing that stuck out to me was how her father would always talk to her about what she failed at that week. And he seems more impressed about her failures than her achievements.
Right.
And it's something that I've just, in doing some digging, I realized that that's something that she also instills in her kids right to this day, where they'll be like, her and her husband, who's also a serial entrepreneur, will be like, what did you learn this week? They place a lot more effort, or a lot more focus on the effort rather than the successes. Is that a core to that, stuck with both of you guys? Like, what do you think about just the idea of failure versus achievements, and is that something in your own childhood that you also can relate to?
I mean, what do you think?
In my childhood, I would say I had very supportive parents, but I don't think it was as much of that. I think a lot of it's just kind of earned over time. But I think it very much resonates with, I have the belief that it's never a failure if you never actually give up, of course. So, I mean, I could quote unquote fail, I could lose money, all of those things, but as long as I continue going, it's not a failure because it's not written yet. So.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I think like the childhood years are absolutely formative for like any founder. There's definitely bits and pieces that we see that happen over and over, especially with like the whole dryer cassette tape that her father ends up giving her. But I think it's something that's like very early on, her mindset shifts away from like, oh, I'm gonna fail in life, to like, oh, I can succeed. Like, it's possible for me to succeed. I think that's super powerful.
Yeah, I like, with failure, I was talking about this with somebody. Somebody was telling me that they have a fear of failure.
Oh.
And that's something that didn't resonate with me completely, because I come from the world of sports, especially in my formative years, where specifically I was in a lot of track and field events of like, there's basketball and football and everything, but the one that took me the furthest was track and field. And I think I've said this on here before, but the event that I did pretty early on was high jump. And high jump, you're always raising the bar, and then you get to a point where you set your personal record and you got about 60 seconds to relish in that moment, and then they're like, okay, we're raising the bar again, and then you end on failure.
Yeah.
And so it's always this failure that you're striving towards almost. You just hope that the failure was a little bit, further than it was in the past. And so I've never really had like a bad relationship with failure, but I realize as I get older how important it is to be comfortable with failure and learn over losing.
If you're scared of failure, you're gonna be scared to try.
Yeah.
And that's crippling because it'll just start paralyzing you.
Well, that happens, like, you know, the older we get, the easier it is to get scared of trying.
Yeah.
And that's like an automatic L. That's like no bueno at all.
Yeah, you don't even have the chance to give up because you didn't even try.
Yeah. So like the next thing that also stuck out to me in her childhood was the Wayne Dyer tapes. So her good friend died at 16 years old, and
right in front of her too.
Right. And so it was a car accident. I don't know the specifics of that.
I think she got hit by a car. I think they were like on a bike ride. She got hit by a car right in front of her.
Yeah.
Something like that, and it obviously affected. You're 16 years old.
Yeah, it's traumatizing.
It's
right?
extremely traumatizing.
And so her father gave her these Wayne Dyer tapes. And Wayne Dyer is to a lot of people, is a spiritual guru, and he talks a lot about mindset and the power of mindset and how that can shape your pursuits.
Yeah.
And so she talks about how her friends were listening to the music of the times, and she was listening to these Wayne Dyer tapes. When people would get in her car, they'd be listening to this, you know, you can get everything that you want as long as you put your mind to it. But I
manifest.
Law of attraction. But I think there's something to it, because the mindset thing, she talks about this later too. She was like, this whole time where I was kind of, you know, stumbling around in my 20s and figuring things out in my late teens and dealing with trauma, she was like, I was working on my mind, and that set me up for a great career. So now I'm curious about the both of you two. How much does mindset apply to your journeys, and how much has it applied?
I have a good one here, because when I was 18, or I guess not 18, 17 when I graduated high school, I was not the kind of guy to go out there and learn computer science and do all these like things on my own. So I knew just internally, I was like, I have to go to college. I have to go to university somewhere, because I'm just not that motivated. I ended up finding that motivation in probably my junior year of college, and that's carried me through. But it was a mindset that I had placed on myself, like almost internally. I was like, I know I'm not that go-getter right now, and so I need to be put in a scenario where I'm surrounded by this knowledge that I'm just going to start, you know, being a sponge and soaking it up. And then eventually it got to the point where I started getting too interested, and I was like, okay, now I'm spending all of my time on this stuff, and I found that motivation. But it was something early on. I was like, I saw all these people getting jobs without a degree, so I knew it was possible. I just didn't have the discipline at the time when I was graduating high school to do it. You know what I mean? Like a college degree would force you to do it.
So like being around people helps.
Yeah, we had a whole cohort and everything. I mean, it was a great experience, because it really motivated me to then say, okay, you can double down on this.
Gotcha.
And it's not like this big scary, you know, concept. You know, trying to do computer science without any knowledge, it feels like it's impossible. You know, it feels like, oh, now I've become a lawyer or something.
Where do I start?
Yeah, and so, but yeah, that was something that I at least identified myself, was that mindset. I was like, I need to change this, and the way to change that is my environment.
Gotcha. What about you, Emmett?
I think for me, as a younger kid, I always was very disciplined, very motivated with a lot of what I did, but probably not to a crazy degree. I think probably what changed it for me is around the age of like 16, I started having chronic migraines and headaches, and I got to the point where I wasn't able to drive. Anytime I was thinking, I was in pain, which is challenging. Throughout that started about my junior year, and it continued throughout almost the entirety of my university career. So anytime I was doing homework or anything like that, I was in pain, which can be certainly decently challenging. So I was, throughout the entirety of it, I kind of go through like ebbs and flows of massive amount of motivation, just anger and sadness across all these things, but always with the undercurrent of, I'm going to fix this, and when I do, then I'm going to take what's mine. So I ended up, after probably like the 50th doctor I saw, was a phenomenal neuroscientist who kind of helped me finally improve it, and now I'm at the point where I'm pretty much completely better. So now it's kind of, I'm just kind of taking what's mine, where it's like, I struggled so long to do a little work, and now that I can, it's just, it's kind of flipped a switch.
Wow. That's, so did he like find something specific that everybody else missed?
Well, yes. So he treated it as if it was a long-term concussion. So basically what he told me is that my central nervous system overreacts to stimuli. So any amounts of like feeling that I have just gets super amplified. Of course I have like anxiety and OCD, so a lot of it is kind of correlated with that. So the way to fix it is basically just to desensitize yourself. So what I had to do is I would do vestibular exercises every day, basically just whipping your head around to make yourself dizzy.
Jeez.
I would do these these PT exercises too, where it's basically a workout, also whipping your head around.
Wow.
Had to constantly be working on something or being social. I was never allowed to take naps or anything like that. And it is challenging, but over time your brain starts to learn, okay, this is all right, the sensation is fine. And that's finally what moved the needle for me. So
Wow.
How long till you started seeing the effects of that take shape?
probably about a month is when I started really seeing things.
So you're just whipping your head back and forth,
yeah, it
like
was
Willow Smith.
it was hard. I have videos of myself doing it in like the early days and just like puking. So it was
You're like, all right, well, I'm gonna do it again. But,
yeah, no, it was not fun.
but now you're standing here and you're like, oh man, like this is really, like it really changed your life.
No, yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough that I think my father was always big into a lot of psychology and things like that, so it kind of brought me into reading a lot of books related to that. So I was lucky enough to get introduced to that so that I could kind of see it as a challenge of like me kind of building out my resilience. So now that I have that, now it's really been beneficial. It's absolutely been a gift. So
Been a gift. Yeah, I mean, I hear the fight in you, man. Like I'm gonna get through this, take what's mine, and that's just innate, you think? Or is that something that you picked up from your parents, or where does that come from?
Or,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably all together. I don't know. I think I definitely always had a lot of that as a kid, but certainly I think it's probably impossible to get it to the level that I have it without having some situation that kind of causes it, which is why I'm very lucky that did happen to me. So
yeah, I think because the reason why I bring that up is because I think that's such a critical part in entrepreneurship and people that end up finding success is the perseverance, the resiliency, and you really only find that out when you're going through something where it's easy to say, hey, I give up. Like that's really, but the cool thing is what comes out on the other side is this crazy amount of confidence. You're like, all right, I am going to go and take what's mine. I feel like I can come up, because I was playing handicaps before. So that's really, really cool. With me, with mindset, I'm very much of the idea like mindset is closely related to our values, and I look at values as just an ordered list of what we think is important, whatever that might be. And I think when we're changing our mindset, one, mindset is context dependent, so the values in one situation isn't the same as the values in another. But when we change our mindset, and we can do that consciously, it literally changes our reality. And I think a lot of people just don't even take the time down to be like, okay, what's important in this specific situation? But then two, when you do that, it's really, really hard to change your value system in a way where it affects how you actually move and navigate the world. And so I think it's just really important to put at the top of your mindset, hey, make sure that you interpret events in a positive way, or in a way that can work for you, because that's how you build resiliency. And that to me is very high up on my mindset list, and I would say it comes a lot from being put in situations and environments and circumstances that allow for that to happen. So
I would say like that's really similar to like the Sara Blakely stuff, but she failed the LSAT twice. Like that's not like
especially when your dad's a trial attorney, right? That's
gotta be so I can't even like imagine if your whole life you're like, I'm gonna be a lawyer just like my dad, and then the whole system's like, you're not smart enough.
Twice.
Twice.
That's that was a big thing, and that was actually the next thing that was coming up right here is the failing the LSATs twice. And then she was like, I cried for like days, but then I got back to it. I picked myself up and I got back to it. And that's another thing too that I want to bring up is I think a lot of people are black and white with your reactions, but a lot of times it can be in the middle, where it's, all right, I'm going to take a couple days, lick my wounds, and then I'm going to get back to it. I think if you skip over that processing step, then not only do you it's like not only are you ignoring your own self, but you're also losing a lot of lessons that can be learned in that space. And so that's a big thing. But the LSATs twice, that was a big moment in her life that I think gets skated through. But when you go through some stuff like that as a young adolescent, then it's gonna affect you, even if it is just a line item on your resume. or your biography. But then after that, she said, okay, I'm gonna go and try to become goofy.
At Disney?
At Disney.
Which is wild, because who wants to be goofy?
Right? And she wasn't even allowed. They were like, look, you're too short to be goofy. Goofy's like 5'8". You're not goofy enough.
You feel the else that you're too serious to be goofy.
You know, me and Jake are laughing about, like, you know, it's this third, it's not even the main guy. Like, it's not even Mickey or Minnie.
It's like the C team.
She could have been like, but then we forget that Goofy had a movie.
That's true.
And so Goofy was kind of, he was kind of like the unsung star. But she goes there, she doesn't get in, and then she says,
she still failed that too.
Yeah, she failed that too. And then she ends up shifting in and going to work for Danka.
That's right. Door-to-door sales.
Door-to-door sales, selling fax machines. That's and she did that for 7 years. And during this time, I mean, she had her different side quests. One side quest eventually became the main quest. But that's something where it's like, it's kind of like this limbo land that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Yeah, it does build a lot of resiliency. You get a lot of no's door to door.
Have you guys? So have you done door to door sales?
I've unfortunately not very long. I only lasted like 4 months.
What about you? Have you done any type?
No.
I did cold calling for my university, and I did it for 2 summers. And
for like donations?
Donations, yeah.
Calling the alumni?
I got a lot of
give us some money.
Calls.
They're going to call you, Emmett. Yeah. Hey, yo, I heard your company's doing great. How would you donate to MSU?
Yeah, how do you feel about donating? So I called a few times, or a lot of times actually, and you just get the range of responses. Some were great. A lot of times it was just a hang up. I got a lot of like, I just graduated. Like, I owe this school $40,000 and you want me to give? Have you no shame?
That's funny.
But it I also got a couple ones where it was like, oh, you thought I was somebody else. This one lady started talking dirty right away, and I was like, hey, I'm here trying to collect.
I'm not your boyfriend.
Yes, she was like, oh, sorry about that. So I had the range of experiences, but you learn how to interact with people. I think that's like the biggest.
Yeah, build some thick skin for sure.
You build some thick skin. You start realizing, oh, I'm in that person's movie right now.
Yeah,
you know.
I get a lot of like Jehovah's Witness at my house, so I have to say no a lot.
So, but my lead-off question for that, specifically with you, Emmett, is I know that you said that you wanted to get back out there and kind of do the door-to-door stuff, not literally, but like metaphorically.
Yeah.
What do you take from that story, and how do you see yourself kind of learning from that excerpt? Because I know that's something that stuck out to you with her journey.
I'm not certain, to be honest. I think it's kind of just getting okay with the very uncomfortable feeling of making an ask of someone and knowing that you're inconveniencing them potentially, but having the confidence to know that what you are asking them about will provide value to them. Because if you don't believe it, then they're gonna feel just held at. So I guess that
Conviction.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we also see that too with a lot of users, even with constants. People are like, they get let go from 9 to 5, or AI takes their job, and they're like, I don't really know how to make an offer to the world. I don't really know, like, it was,
how to ask.
Yeah, it's like, how do I ask somebody, even though I'm good at this thing, how do I build that? How do I ask for that? How do I even present it in a way that I don't feel like a slime bag trying to like steal money from somebody?
Yeah, I think that when you bring it up in that context, I think that there's so much that. Well, let me pause for a second. What did you study when you were
computer science?
Computer science, okay. Even in the business school, everything is all theoretical. It's not practical.
Yeah. So
I studied economics and finance, and then in the evenings I would be coding, and then that led me into the tech world. So I never really worked in finance and economics, but I studied that. And in the business school, the sales aspect is not taught. I feel like you would get a much better education if they just said, okay, for the next year, or for like this class, all we're doing is cold calling for the class. And then every week we're gonna come back and we're gonna take our notes and we're gonna share, and then we're gonna go back out there.
That's interesting, yeah.
Then the next part, we're doing door-to-door sales. And then, we're gonna grade you across from that. But that's something that's really brought up, and I think it really is a disservice to people that are entering into the business world, the entrepreneurship world, etc.
Yeah.
So she ended up doing that though. She ended up working as doing door-to-door sales, but this is when she got her idea for Spanx. And she got her idea for Spanx, which again, it's one of those things where that's the highlight moment that everybody talks about, when she was like, hey, I'm going to this event, and I want to wear these white pants, but I haven't been able to wear them because when I wear my undergarments, you can see the embroidery line. And then when I wear the pantyhose, it bunches up at the bottom. And so she was just in this weird in between. She got the lightning bulb idea. Hey, I'm gonna cut the bottoms off of the pantyhose, and I'm gonna use that to wear under my pants, and it worked, and it looked great. Of course, they rolled up a little bit. They weren't perfect at the time, but she had that idea. And it's really interesting because around this time too, she was also doing some stand-up comedy gigs. She did stand-up comedy for about 3 years, where she was driving back and forth between Clearwater and Atlanta. And there's a couple different threads that I want to pull on here, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. But around the stand-up comedy thing, she said that it never really worked out, but it taught her how to, manage an audience, how to read an audience, how to get to a point quick, and how to sell herself in front of an audience. Same time, she talks about how she got this idea, and she talks a lot about how she puts her thoughts out into the universe, and says, hey universe, I want this thing, can you help me get it? And she said that before she got this idea, she was asking for an idea from the universe to basically give her something that she can work with. And so they have those two things on the table. I'm interested to see what you guys think about that. The one where it's a side quest can kind of develop your long-term goals and your long-term skill sets, and the other is where your ideas really come from, where you source your ideas.
I think the first thing that popped into my head is I feel like you make your own luck.
Okay.
The hard work you do, the blood, sweat, and tears that you pour into something, then you find yourself in a lucky circumstance where it's like most people, if they're seeing that Instagram version of you, aren't going to see all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into getting the 6-pack of abs that you're flaunting on Instagram. And that's a really superficial example. But same with building a consulting company or like a development company. Is like nobody knows the hard, weekends and nights and stuff that are spent. They only might be looking at the revenue numbers. Oh, look at how successful this is. So I think there's a lot of things in there where it's like she did both. She worked really hard. She asked the universe for it, but her hard work then got her to be lucky, to be put in the right spot at the right time. So I think that's like a little bit there. You can't just sit back and expect the universe to take care of you.
What do you think?
I don't have a good response to this question, sorry.
You said you don't have a response to this question?
I don't have a good response, sorry.
Okay, how do you feel about the whole pleading to the universe?
I don't believe in that very much. I think it does work out that way, because I think if you're putting all of your energy into one effort, the abdominal human will is really amazing, and there's really no way for you to be denied with that, which I guess can potentially get a little bit spiritual. But yeah, I don't believe in it from the universe, but I believe in it from the human's perspective.
Okay. How do you feel about the side quests? Like, have you had any side quests that didn't feel aligned at the time, but when you look back and you connect the dots, you're like, oh, I wouldn't have been able to get here if I didn't have that happen?
Yeah, I'd say outside of medical issues, potentially me working at 2 Men in a Truck.
There you go.
So it's really just about me building discipline. The same thing where I knew I wanted to work at a moving company, and that's probably not a desire of a lot of people, but it just...
You wanted to work at a moving company?
I enjoyed manual labor.
Okay.
I just thought it would be pretty fun, so just for a summer anyway.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to drive to the location because I was dealing with that issue, so I would bike 9 miles there, move stuff away, then bike 9 miles back. And that very much instilled a lot of discipline into me, which is, of course, something that's been able to carry through. But, so of course, I'm not moving furniture now.
I feel that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I commit idea arbitrage all the time. So I like doing, or at least peeking into different things that are going on. Yeah. I like watching people that are good at things that they that are good at what they do in a different domain. because I'm like, oh, maybe I can translate that into something that we can do. We do that a lot with product development, where we're like looking at what other people are doing for like inspiration. We might see something and say like, oh, we like the way that they, you know, ordered this list. We're gonna go and take that idea and use it for, you know, something that we're doing. Or we might take design ideas, or, you know, just like operational ideas. It can come from anywhere, really. And then personally in my life, like if I'm doing something, no matter what, I feel like my brain is always on now, where I'm always looking for something, or it's always like, it's almost like an alarm system, where something that happens in, you know, a workout or whatever might trip my alarm and say, oh, this might be something that you can carry over into the business and what you're doing. So I don't know, I feel like I take from different areas of my life and try to source ideas from that all the time. I'm a big person in the whole, I'm a big believer in the whole universe delivering ideas. I've like, a big ethos of mine is like, I feel like it's the way that people explain it that doesn't really do it justice, not necessarily the actual practice of, you know, looking towards the universe. The reason why I say that is I think a lot of it is tapping into our subconscious brain that has been shown to deliver a lot of really accurate solutions if attended to and trained. So, you know, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but
Do you find yourself as a lucky person?
I find myself.
Do you think of yourself as a lucky person?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do, and I do think of myself as a lucky person. Actually, I think I'm very favored, but I think that, but I do think that it comes with a lot of hard work. I think that, you know, when you get good at deciphering like your own internal signals and feelings, when, you know, you're onto something and when you're not, then that can become a really, really powerful asset. But I do think that an untrained intuition can lead you astray.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so. But I think that there's, like, especially as an entrepreneur, like, you found success really early, right?
Success, yeah.
Well, what's the...
I mean, my company has been very successful. Of course, I still pay myself almost nothing because all that goes back into the business. But yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you got your first client pretty early, though,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah. And then from there, you were able to, like, build off of that with pretty quick momentum off of that, or... Let me ask you this. So what's been the biggest struggle of your business so far?
I think it's just been continually getting the conversations with decision makers at large firms. I think a big reason that we were able to be successful very early is that when I'm in a room with someone, I'm able to communicate value very quickly. I'm able to build trust with them, as well as I'm able to kind of communicate the technical side and the practical side in a way that they can get excited about the technical without having to fully understand it, and they can see the practical value of it. So I think I'm able to communicate all that, but of course I'm young and I don't have the network that most other business people would have. So it's just, how do I get them into that room with me initially to actually have that conversation? That's been just a massive thing that we've been dealing with. So.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just getting into rooms and stuff like that is the biggest headache right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So something that really stuck out to me with Sara Blakely is how much of a self-starter she was and how she did a lot of things herself. She wrote her own patent.
Yeah.
She it was largely also because she was quoted at $20,000 to $100,000 to go and get the stuff actually submitted herself. And then she basically was very much a self-starter. And that basically took her to another level. But something that really aligns is she also had a similar situation where she was like calling a lot of the mills. As soon as she got her idea, then there was this period of
nobody wants to work with me.
Yeah.
They all kept saying no.
How many people do you, like, what's your rate? Because she was like, I called 50 to 100 people before one person called back and was like, hey, we can go and make this undergarment. And people were just saying like, this is a ridiculous idea. Nobody wants to have people want their feet on their pantyhose. How could you do something like this? She said a lot of it was men who had no experience. Do you find that sometimes when you don't get into rooms that it's usually unfounded reasons why, or do you think it's just like even getting the conversation is a difficult part for you?
I mean, I would say it's certainly founded because traditionally, if you were my age, then it wouldn't really make sense for you to be in those rooms, as well as I don't have the breadth of experience that someone could just point to and say, hey, I was CEO of this company for 10 years. That very much assures people. So I don't necessarily think it's unfounded. I would say it's untrue based on the kind of resume of work that we've done with companies that are the same size as them. But it's about how you actually can get someone to understand that very quickly to get that conversation. So
So you see yourself more as a like what, services over product?
yes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So she finally gets her, switching back over to the Sarah context, she finally gets her break. Sam Kaplan calls and he says that, hey, I was talking with my daughter and she said that it was a great idea. And
Well, he said no first.
He said no
and
first,
then he
yes.
talked to his daughters.
Yes.
Which he probably should have done before he said no. But
Yeah. But that, I mean, it's also a big note too where no's aren't permanent.
yes.
Especially if you can follow up and present value. No's aren't permanent. They can quickly change to a yes. Because life also goes on outside of that one meeting. The idea can stick.
Yeah.
And so the sales cycle can usually reflects that. But so she ended up getting her call back, and then they ended up making a whole bunch of different variations, varieties, and around this time too, around 99, she starts playing around with the name. And she said that she was reading different marketing textbooks, and she hears that names that have that X sound or the K sound usually market better. So she says, okay, I'm gonna come up with Spanx. Now she's looking for that twist. She ends up calling it Spanx with the X, and then that ends up, the rest is history at that point. But around this time too, and I'm kind of moving along a little bit here, but around this time too, she ends up marketing her product and saying, okay, I have my idea and now we want to go out here and really sell it. This is the thing that I actually really like about what she did, is she was just a very aggressive salesperson.
Yeah.
She went to Neiman Marcus, she got in there, and when she was there, she was saying how she didn't leave it up for the people to sell. She was selling in the stores. And they were like, well, you're the founder. Well, don't you have other things to do? And she was like, no, I need to make sure that these people are selling it. And so she would do things to get people on board there. She always talks about leading with the problem. And I think that's something that we've learned recently in terms of sales and making sure that you get the most of it. And that also translates to marketing, but leading with the problem, because she was like, I had an invention, yes, it's pantyhose, but nobody had really, worn them like this before.
Yeah.
And so nobody even knew that the problem existed because people weren't even thinking about an alternative. So I think that there's a really cool thing about leading with the problem that she picked up, but then also that grit of, I learned it in my fax machine days. You have to get out there and sell and talk to people and market. We always talk about this, marketing is engaging with your market. So I guess that's another push right there where, all right, now you're doing a podcast, right? You talked about getting out there more and more. Do you guys do like marketing? Do you have specific salespeople on the team?
Yeah, or are you the tip of the spear for that stuff?
I was up until about 6 weeks ago. We hired a marketing intern. Our big push for the summer has been just testing every pipeline we can to kind of see where there is traction. Analogous to the door knocking, you don't know until you actually get out into the universe and try it.
Right.
You can plan as much as you want, but you're not going to know until you try. So we've been trying all of the marketing channels you could think of right now. So
Like which ones specifically?
So we've been doing cold email, LinkedIn outreach. We're going to be starting Google ads shortly here. We're going to try out LinkedIn ads, but we also have to see about that. I myself have been doing like a LinkedIn warm outreach campaign as well as some amount of cold outreach as well. But of course, the way that I had sold up until this point was just networking with people, going to every event that I can. So I'm just trying to scale that up as well because
Like press and flush and stuff?
Yes, yep.
Very interesting. The social is where we've been basically working with a lot of small businesses and individuals directly. And we've seen fruit off of that, now we're putting together our own social strategy and basically taking everything that we've learned and saying, hey, how can we do that for us? But the marketing is its own animal and its own beast. It's like, the way that we view it is like marketing is sales at scale. And there's a through line there, same end destination, we want it to convert, but the tactics are slightly different when it's a one-on-one in person versus, you know, more broad campaign outreach, and the funnel's just a little bit differently. But that's
with Sara,
thing.
I know that she was like very aware that she was good at sales.
Yeah.
And so I think for about 8 years there, she actually hired her own CEO to like run the company as like professional management. And a lot of people, I think founders especially, have that idea of like, do I hire out what I'm bad at, or do I do the thing I'm bad at to, you know, really take it as far as I can take it before I hire somebody? Like, Emmett, I'm curious what your mentality is on that. Like, do you know where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then do you only hire for the things you hate, or how do you think about that?
I think for me, I think it's a bit of both of those, where I hire for what I know that I'm not very good at. I'm not very good at marketing. I don't have any background in it, and I don't think I'm as talented in it. I think I'm very good at sales, so that kind of remains for myself. For development, for instance, I think I'm talented at development. That being said, it's not the highest leverage play for myself, so pretty much all of that has been brought onto our team, and then I work on the kind of like top level architecture. I'm working with the client, kind of a product owner role.
Gotcha.
So I've delegated as much as I can, because that's the only way to have leverage in the business and properly scale. So
I like that.
Very cool. So
I'm gonna turn around here.
there's
turning around in here again.
No, so there's something that was interesting to me, and I'm curious if you guys have any examples or stories that relate to this. And it's, I guess, kind of pulling on the same thread, but I want to peel it back, because I think that as founders, when you go through, even if you don't have it on day one, you have that time where people just doubt your ideas.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that I think is sure to come, no matter where you are. It's just how you deal with it is the next thing. But she had this thing where she would go in, she's already had some success, she's selling these products. She goes into this is, I think, the one of the department stores. It might be the Neiman Marcus one, but she goes in and she says, I want to sell my product in your stores. And they're like, you know, we're kind of skeptical, we don't know. And then she's like, all right, I'm gonna go and demo this. I'm gonna go and take you to the bathroom, come to the bathroom with me, I'm gonna try on the before and after. And after going through all of that is when the lady finally says, I see what you're talking about. I think this is gonna sell great. Do you demo a lot of what you do, or is that like something that you do in the services space? Like, how does that play into account when you're really trying to make a sale? Let me actually give you another.
Trust?
How do you gain trust? But then also, do you have any specific plays that you run when you're trying to gain trust? You know?
I think I gain trust just by being very honest and candid about what I know and what I don't know. I work in a lot of industries that I have no outside understanding of. For instance, I work heavily in like the heavy machinery space, especially in agriculture. Nothing about tractors or anything like that prior, of course, now I've got an understanding of it. So I think just being very candid about what I know and what I don't know, and the idea that you'll be the knowledge expert in it, but I've got cooking practices on the outside, is one way. In terms of plays or demos of what we actually show, it can be challenging because a lot of what we do is very confidential for a specific client. But of course, as we've done more and more work, more things have become public, and we've got our case studies that I'm able to point to and say, hey, we've done something that's very similar to that, which then I can get into a demo. But I think it's really just very freeform, I suppose. I don't think I have as much of a playbook for it, which I think is probably good, because then I think it's harder to people will be able to catch on that you're trying to earn trust with them or trying to connive your way in. So
It's interesting.
Earn trust or connive your way in.
Yeah.
I'm worried I used connive wrong there, actually.
Well, I mean, I think like a lot of times, like I talked to this about with one of my sales friends. He was like, sales, a lot of times people have a bad outlook on sales because they've been dealing with people that aren't good at sales, who are obvious, like they telegraph that they're trying to gain trust. It's like if you go into a boxing ring and you telegraph a punch, best case scenario, the person's gonna dodge the punch. Worst case scenario, you're gonna get popped.
Get it countered.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to sales, a lot of times they're like, I don't like sales, it's icky. But then if you're good at it, then a lot of times, it just feels like a good interaction with somebody where you're like, I know where that person stands.
Well, I think also it's, if you know that what you're doing is providing value and this is a good match for them, then yes, it's sales, but it's really, you actually believe it too. So you're just explaining why you think there is value in this. I think if you don't believe it, then I think that's where more of the sliminess comes in.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to convince someone to buy something that they don't actually need, and then that's lying.
Or trying to sell a product that I would never use. It's like, use this.
That as well.
And you feel it, and you're like,
do you even use that? Like, do you even?
You don't even believe that. That's
it's like the common one, like eat your own dog food.
Yeah.
That's the very common one of like, do the thing that you're trying to sell yourself first so you can see it. And then the beautiful example with her showing her own butt in the bathroom.
Yeah. Like, come over here and check this out. So that was a big part, but the thing that really came up with her that really put her on the map was the Oprah endorsement.
That was huge.
And we did an episode on Oprah before.
We did.
And it was clear how big her reach got, where she started getting to the point where she came out with Oprah's favorite things. It's like, if you get on that list, you're basically minted.
Best-selling books, products. It was basically QVC before QVC.
Yeah. So she comes on here and she says, all right, I want to get on Oprah's favorite things. So what she did is she sent this gift basket to one of her producers, I believe, who was a tastemaker. And he got into Oprah, and then she turns on the TV one time, and I think it was during a downtime in her journey, and she goes, oh my God, like, I'm looking on TV right now, and Oprah's talking about these pantyhose that don't have the feet on them. And from there, her business blew up. She said her phones were ringing for 48 hours straight. One call after another after another. The thing that was really interesting to me, though, is how she went through the adjacent channel. I think a lot of times people just shoot to the top, and if they don't get to the top, then it's like, I have no other way in. Yeah. But that other angle, I think, really created that space where it gave her an avenue in when she didn't have that before.
I mean, we're sitting here literally. Like, we can't get to Emmett. There's no way. He's not going to take our call. We might as well go through Ezra. Because that's the only way we get to it.
And Ezra got us this call right here. So.
Which I'm sure you would have taken my call. But but yeah, no, it's a really powerful one. If you know who's surrounding the person you're trying to get to, it can be very powerful if you can make that play.
Yeah. So then from there, I mean, she's an established company.
Yep.
And she's in all of these different retailers. And her business is really starting to take off. And something that was really interesting around here is she goes on to QVC, which you just kind of brought up.
Yep.
They asked her to discount it, and she was like, I don't want to discount. I don't want to discount this. How do you feel about discounts?
I think it makes sense in some cases.
Yeah.
I think a lot of service business is the relationship. So if you're able to meet a client where they are in a time when they really need it, then that really invests in the relationship. But yeah.
Would you ever use a discount to close a sale? Or at that point you're like, the relationship's not there?
There's some amount of wiggle room on any quote, but it's very important to me that whatever quote I put out is based in reality, and it's not me trying to get the better of a client.
Yeah.
So if they are looking for a discount, it's not usually, I can actually cut 1,000 off. It's okay, what can we remove from this so that we can cut scope from this so that we can meet that target that you're looking for.
Keeping all the same full price. That makes sense. Okay, so you actually reduce the offering.
Yeah.
Instead of saying same thing but less.
Well, because otherwise the pricing isn't based on anything. It's just me trying to get the most value from this client that I can as possible.
Right.
Which it's not a good way to run a service business. So
I like the whole, like, I'm going to put my foot down, this is my price, I'm not discounting it, but we can remove stuff if you don't like it. Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, I can't give you the full offering, but we can work around what we have right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it maintains the value and the integrity of what you're doing when you're actually serving those people.
And there's so many software consulting firms that will, one of my largest client I got because they got fed up with one of the firms that quoted some astronomical figure for what the work should be, and they said, well, we don't have that budget at all. So on the exact same scope, they cut it like 70%. They're like, oh, so this is bullshit. This is not based on anything at all. You're just trying to get all this money from us. So
I feel the same way with like sometimes like diamond sellers, jewelry sellers. I feel like when they always have these 80% off sales, or like another fantastic one is like Art Van. They're always going on sale. They always have some kind of sale that's like 85-90% off. Like how do you do this? How is everything always 90% off?
I mean, to a degree it works, but
there is a some but
it's like, what are you giving up to make that one thing
now
work?
Your brand is the 90% off brand. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. So it is interesting. So what we so at this point in her arc right here, in her journey, there's so many things, of course, that happen over this run over the next like 20 years. Some key highlights though that I want to touch on before we wrap our is her exit from the main, or like one is the sale to Blackstone, which happens way later. That's 2021
for $1 billion.
Her whole time maintaining ownership and then selling that, but then how she talks about how she moved into this foundation, and she's been quoted as saying that her business was ultimately a play to fund her real motivation, which is the foundation that she created and the ability to empower women. And so I'm curious with you, Emmett, is like, we asked about 5-10 years for the business, but what is your North Star? What really drives the specific things that you do? And if it is just like, hey, I'm a person that wants to be a really successful person in business, then that's a completely fine answer. I don't want to make it seem like you have to be altruistic, but I am curious about that underlying current.
It's not about success. It's not fully altruistic either. For me, it's really just freedom. I mean, that's the whole reason I started this business as well. Is that I absolutely hate limits in anything that I do, and I also don't want to be kind of a slave to my circumstances. So I mean, the terrifying thing about living in the U.S. is you could do everything right, but you could get bankrupted by cancer or something like that. I never want to be in a position where I'm not able to help someone that I love with that, as well as I never want to be in a position where I can't do what I want to do. Like, I don't know exactly what I want my end of life to be, or the rest of my life, or if I want to travel or any of these things, but I absolutely am not okay with being limited by that. I know that I want to be able to go out, I want to be able to do good, I want to build great things and be able to provide for the people around me, and just kind of follow my passions. Of course, the way to do that effectively, and for a lot of cases, is being successful. So there's things to be said for finding happiness in smaller things, which I actually do think is true. I'm not looking to be a billionaire, I'm not looking to be 100 millionaire, but there is a certain amount of money that allows you the capacity to have that freedom and take care of those around you. So
I love that, man. Where do you see the technology? How do you evaluate the state of technology right now, and where do you see it? How do you see it playing out over the next couple of years?
I think a lot of dev shops that service small to medium-sized businesses are going to go by the wayside. I think that's a big reason that we've kind of pivoted into a little bit more of a business consulting and business optimization route, because that's not something that an AI is going to be able to do effectively, even as it gets even smarter, is really interview people and have that human understanding of exactly what the business needs. Because yes, we still will be able to do development work for them, but we'll have that same consulting role and kind of an inroad into them, so that we can actually know that what we're doing has practical value, not just the software work. Because software working, it's my belief that in the next 2 to 3 years, that's not going to be something that's kind of not going to be up for chance. It's just going to be, yes, it works, but can you do something that actually provides value? So
that's interesting. Describe the pivot to the business optimization. I know that obviously what you said makes sense in the context of it, but what was that like internally when you were deciding, hey, we're going to go more this route?
I think it's been hard because the sales cycles are very long, and I think with a lot of software, they have an immediate need. But things like this, it's more so you have to go in and kind of point out where all the inefficiencies and the pain is in the business, because people won't really seek out help until they really need it, which is kind of the worst time to be going in and doing these optimizations when everything's already on fire. So I think internally that's just been very challenging because, of course, we're already a consulting firm, we're a services-based business, so our revenue is peaks and valleys. So when you add in longer sales cycles than we're used to, that's certainly it's been a challenge in navigating. So.
And with software, you've touched on this about how, you know, it's going to become more and more easier to deliver software that just works. How are you reading this evolution of AI, like, as it pertains to software? Like, beyond just, hey, it's delivering software that works, like, tell me, like, how you are seeing, like, the evolution of AI in this space right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is just the customization that everyone's able to have. I know a large amount of people who have just built their own internal toolings that's replaced billing and invoicing and CRM functionality, email marketing, and all these things that is very customized to their use case. Now, it's not the size where that should ever be deployed out onto the public, which a lot of them are. Some people are going to get into issues with that. But I think it's really just the ability to just democratize software has been very interesting to me. So
I don't know, this is my opinion, but I think that it can get you to like 90%.
Yeah.
But I find that if you don't know what you don't know. And I think that if you're not in a space, it can get you again to average really, really quickly. But then there's so many different blind spots that I see with people that show me their software. I'm like, oh, you didn't even think about that, or this data leaking, or you don't know where your data is actually stored. So are you seeing any of that? Do you think it actually opens up more opportunities for you?
Yes and no. I've had multiple people come to me for me to kind of deploy their vibe-coded application. That being said, it's very hard to close those people because they've been sold this dream that they're able to build out this massive application for pennies. So then when we come in, we give them a proper bid of what it would take. For instance, for this application to be HIPAA compliant, they are, I mean, it's just a massive jump from what they've invested. Because honestly, a lot of these vibe coding platforms have sold snake oil, and they've sold a dream of what is possible. And the big reason that I've had to give like larger quotes for it is because these systems know that they're going to approach other firms to actually deploy something that's scalable. All the software that's written, it's written inside of these vibe codings, like very specific systems, so that if you wanted to translate it over to like Google Cloud or Azure, you're going to have to do a ton of work to migrate it away from, for instance, Base 44's proprietary systems.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that we're moving into this world where, I don't know, I think like there's an edge for people that understand software and systems today, because it's like you get to see on a level that's like slightly lower than what people are exposed to, and I think that's just a huge edge. I think it's going to take some time before people realize, oh, like what you just said, I created the software, and even though I've been sold this dream that I can go and I can make it and I can see it, the delivery is still a really, really, really important thing, because it's people's information, it's people's data.
It's also wild though. Do it HIPAA compliant, no mistakes. Like what? That's not going to work.
And I mean, Base 44 knows that too. So there's I believe it's called like a BA agreement that a cloud service provider would have to sign in order to be HIPAA compliant, and Base 44 does not provide that at all.
It's liable, liability that you don't want to take on, but there is that dream of like, do it, no mistakes, and I'm going to go to bed, and when I wake up, it's done. No way.
Some people have had success in it, but I mean, the thing I always think about is there's 10,000 CRM companies. A lot of them have had success. So many more of them have not had success, and CRM's not challenging to build, but there's so much more that goes into it, and the design that actually determines whether or not it's successful. So,
I think it's probably true for all software, honestly. There's always something more that goes into it than people realize.
It's just the nature of the game. All right, well, we are coming up on time. Do you have any more questions, Jake? Do you have any more comments, thoughts, anything that you want to put out on the table, Emmett?
I've got nothing.
Cool. Any other plugs on what you have going on, things that we should be paying attention to now and in the future?
Where can people find you?
Not too much. I mean, if you're interested in software, you're interested in making your business run better, Barrett Solutions is the company. BarrettSolve.com, BARRETT, solve.com. So yeah, I'd love to talk.
Awesome. That'll be in the description, obviously.
Yes, of course.
And we'll be showing that on the screen here. So awesome. Thank you so much for taking this drive with us.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of fun.
Very cool. Until next time.
We're out. Peace.
Peace.